If you look what's happening on the other side of the Mediterranean, there are people who are changing the world. There are people of your age that are changing the world with Twitter, that are changing the world gathering in squares, and they're revolutionary. So, and this is being entrepreneurial. Is being a pirate on your own, getting a crew and change the world. And I'm introducing now a guy who spent the last 2-3 years working with these people on the field, in Egypt, in Syria. He met the people who are doing or fighting Assad in Syria. He's met the people in Tunisia, he's met the people in Libya. And he has half an hour, more or less, to spend with you. And I want to do it before the coffee break, so in case he has a time, he can stay also at the coffee break. And I invite him to come. He's from Belgium, he speaks like 8 or 9 languages. I don't know how many. Did you learn something more, Koert? It's Koert Debeuf, and he's entrepreneurial himself, and you can probably tell 10 minutes about your story, what you're doing, and then you can ask him whatever you want. Make advantage of it, because there are few people who are changing the world, and this is one of them, so thanks. Introduce yourself.
Hello, and they asked me to talk to young entrepreneurs, and I don't know a lot about business, but I'm just going to talk a bit about myself, what I've been seeing, and what I think might be going on in the Arab world, in the larger world, and which might perhaps be interesting for you as, let's say, revolutionary entrepreneurs. I've always been interested in the revolutions, but I was always too young. French Revolution, of course, I was much too young to experience. But also the fall of the Berlin Wall, I was just 16 years, not able to jump in my car and go to see what happened in that part of the world. I always regretted. When I saw then things happening in Tunisia and on Tahrir, I said, okay, I have to be there. Before I was advisor of the Prime Minister here in Belgium, and I was chief of staff of the leader of the Liberals in the European Parliament. So people say, well, it's a nice job, you know, so why should you leave it? Well, it's because I wanted to live history. So I went to Egypt. I knew nobody. I went 2 years ago, so just after the revolution. And frankly, I had not one contact. I knew nobody in Tunisia, nobody in Syria, and so forth. Right now, I can say I built up a kind of a network on a prime ministerial level, but I've been traveling a lot, 6 times to Tunisia. Of course, I live in Egypt. I went 4 times into Syria. By the way, if you go into Syria, I mean, it's just not just like going with a tourist car into the war zone. So, because they don't let people like me or like you in. So you have to go illegally, which means bribing soldiers, running with smugglers in the night over the hills, being chased by dogs who are trying to get you. But yeah, I mean, to see some and fighting against you. I was on the front line. There were bombs against me and so forth. So it's not always nice, of course, to be in a war zone. But the 2 most interesting cases, at my opinion, I would like to talk about is not Syria, which is a big mess, or Tunisia, which is going the right way and smoothly going towards a kind of a European democracy. And Libya, I can do a long talks about Libya, but I would like to concentrate just a little bit on what happened the last 2 years in Egypt and what happened the last few months in Turkey. I heard that there are 2 Turkish people here, so if I say the wrong thing, please interrupt me. I've been on Tahrir like, I don't know, 100 times. I was there when the big killings happened in November 2011, when 40 people died in one morning. So plenty of tear gas, shooting, beating. I was there by accident. And you know why? I live quite some kilometers away from Tahrir, but I woke up in the morning and it smelled like something in the air. And I thought, what is this? It's like burnt air. So something bizarre. And I thought, what can this be? People are not barbecuing there, so I thought, I'll go to Tahrir, we'll see. What was this? It was just tear gas, so massively thrown on Tahrir that I could smell it just like kilometers and kilometers down the Nile in my garden. So I came up and I saw just like a complete war zone. So, and people still fighting, people coming to the street every day. I've been in Mohammed Mahmoud near Tahrir where people will just carry beyond me with lost eyes, with knees, I mean, horrible things, I must say. And people are still going on. And then, of course, Morsi was elected. It was quite a difficult period. People supported him because the other option was the military again, Shafiq, so the old regime. They gave him a chance. Clearly, he screwed up. So, last Sunday, I just come back from Egypt. So last Sunday, I was in Egypt. We were not knowing what to expect. To just give you an image, there's one bar not far from Tahrir where a lot of intellectuals and writers are. And a few of them said, you know, I mean, these guys must be killed. I said, come on, you're a writer, you're a journalist. What are you saying? Oh, they must be killed, this must be over, it must be done. So I knew something was boiling up on an amazing level. So I don't know what you heard about last Sunday in Egypt, I mean the 30th of June, but some say with 33 million people on the street, others say 15 million on the street, whatever. It's huge when you walk into Cairo and you see all these masses coming by. I was sitting on the terrace having a tea, and then you see like, it's going, 1 hour marches, people from, it's not just intellectuals or just the poor because the economy is going bad. No, it's a mixture of everything. I saw women in niqabi, so only their eyes, they were moving by against Morsi, saying we want him to get out. So I was wondering, I mean, why are these people doing this? And 2 weeks before, I just was in Belgrade and I was talking to the guys who kicked Milosevic out. I had a very nice talk with the revolutionaries there. And they say, yeah, we have to prepare and you have to organize and things like that. And then I came and I heard that they are starting Taksim Square in Istanbul. So I took the plane from Belgrade, it's not far, to Istanbul, and I stayed the night literally on Taksim Square to feel, to smell what is going on. And then we tried to think, I mean, what is happening over there? Of course, we also heard about Brazil and about, you know, the Brazilian revolution broke out because they raised the tickets for the buses with half, I think it was calculated, or like 20 euro cents. So a revolution for 20 euro cents sounds very ridiculous. So it's clearly not about this. It's not about economics what is happening. It's not about, well, it's not about being against Islam or about bus prices. I think what is happening is a much, much deeper revolution that we are facing. In my opinion, Morsi, I mean, we have had a crash in Egypt and in Tunisia and all of the entire Arab world in 2011. But what happened was not, I mean, that was not the earthquake. The earthquake went deeper, and Morsi was just one of the waves, but the bigger wave, the tsunami of the revolution, is still coming up. And I think we will see this in several parts of the world. What do these people want? Basically, it's people, I would call them, it's your generation, I would call it, it's the Twitter revolution. And it's not about the organized Facebook, everybody say Facebook revolution, but very symbolic about Twitter is the fact that people just don't like authority anymore. They don't like people to tell them what to do because they are a dictator, because they have a majority, because they are some sheikh or some pope or so whatever. People start to hate this because, I mean, if you look to Twitter, and one thing about Twitter is that here in Europe, I mean, I see some Europeans, Twitter and Facebook is social media. In the Arab world, it's not social media, it's politics. People fight, it's a tool. They fight for their rights with Twitter. And what is Twitter? It's whoever you are, you can start, and if you say interesting stuff, you grow. If you say crap, you go down. So everybody has the same chance, and whoever you are, I mean, it depends what you say, and not really who you are. And what is the mistake, for example, that people like Erdogan and Morsi don't publish it, because I want to publish it, I haven't done it yet, but if you look to their Twitter accounts, Morsi has like 2 million or 3 million followers, Erdogan, he has 5 million followers, or 4.5. They follow nobody. Nobody. Look to Obama or look to all the others, they always follow at least some thousands of people. These two, they don't follow anybody. What they think that politics is top down. I communicate with you. If it's Twitter, or it's a fax, or it's whatever, I mean, it's the same stuff. They think we are elected, we are legitimate, we heard this word so many times, top down communication. So we tell you what we think and what you should do. And people say, that's not what we want. So it's not an accident that it happens exactly in Turkey, where there was a kind of a majority who wanted to impose this park thing, but it's not about the park, the bridge, about everything. Erdogan said, don't watch this movie because the girls, they are dressed like here and it's not nice, and don't watch this and don't watch that. People are fed up with it. Who are you? It's not because you're president or elected prime minister of the country that you can tell us what to do. So what I have seen, or at least as my interpretation so far, is that this top-down communication is not working anymore. People want to, Twitter is about interaction. Young people, they want to interact. They want to get answers on their question and not just being told what to do. So, and these two governments, they didn't understand. And they still don't understand. Morsi until the last moment. I mean, we were there on Tahrir Square, and a few hours before the military said, yeah, we're going to help the people. It's a long discussion about was it a coup, not a coup, not for today. But 30 million people on the street. I mean, and he still thought that, I'm elected, guys. He said, it's not okay. I mean, you didn't talk to us. Erdogan said, yeah, but I'm the strong guy. Said, people, fuck you, we don't like it. So, I mean, and this is basically what I think, a new thing which is going on, which is also perhaps interesting for enterprises. If you do sales or whatever, I mean, the old school is, we're going to do publicity. It's good for perhaps my generation, but not for your generation. I mean, people don't like this top-down communication anymore. It's about interaction. And what we will see, in my opinion, in democracy, and here in Europe we talked about it yesterday, we're or lazy or, I don't know, we just think, yeah, well, things are going well and so forth. But there is the big fight. And where is the change going to happen? Look in history, I'm a historian, it's always where a massive amount of people are together, big cities, and big energy. One of the biggest changes in the world was, of course, the French Revolution. The French Revolution, biggest city, chaos 10 years at one. I mean, you always see the chaos. New York, by the way, at the beginning of at the end of the 19th century, it was big chaos everywhere. But out of this chaos, something new is coming. So what I think is that we will go, and it's always with the communication revolution. So the Renaissance came with the book. I mean, the Industrial Revolution came with the telephone, the telefax, and so forth. Every revolution, every change in society comes with a communication revolution. So what we are seeing now is a society revolution with a communication revolution, which is going to lead to a democracy revolution. And probably also something, but that's for you to think about how to do business. What I think about democracy revolution, people just don't accept anymore representatives. I'm elected, so I can talk in your name. People say, you're not talking in my name, I talk in my name. And I take pictures of myself and I put it on Facebook. So, but nobody else can do that in my place. So they can't talk for other people. So we've seen in Europe, this old democracy place, that things are not going well, but we don't know how to solve it. In my opinion, where it's going to happen is in the south. You have the big cities, Sao Paulo, Istanbul, Cairo, Jakarta. You know where most tweets are sent in the world? Right, it's still New York. But very, very close, Jakarta. It's amazing, Jakarta. So you see, the balance of power is shifting in the world, and probably also, this is just a very general revolutionary introduction. I'm saying what is happening now. I'm on Tahrir Square every day. I always have a gas mask in my pocket because I'm tear gassed all the time. Lost my phones 3 times and so forth. But when I think through what is really happening, it's not just guys who are fighting against something or just want to have a fight. It's much deeper. And that's why these guys, kicked out the president that was elected because he was not a Democrat. He was not what people expect him to be. He's not going to be the last one who's going to be kicked out. So be prepared. Be prepared. I think this is going to spread all over the world. And I think this is exactly what the lessons I have so far learned, I might be completely wrong, after 2 years revolution in the Arab world. Thank you.
I have questions, but if you guys...
I just wanted to add that in Bulgaria it's the same what is happening from the last 1 month, that we are on the streets every day from the last 1 month, and we had a first protest, wave of protest in February, and now it's the second wave of protest, so if you're interested you can follow it.
We say in Egypt, inshallah. So, yes.
Where do you think that you talk about a revolution in terms of a shift of power towards the east or the south? Sorry. Where do you think that Europe's position is within this this kind of new worldview? What do you think we can do about Europe?
I'm a very, very pro-European guy. So I'm the secretary of the Spinelli group, all these big guys who are trying to be very European. I'm very sad about Europe, you know. You know, when I was in China several times, I mean, and of course now, and in the south. And then you come back to Europe and Europe is nice food, good wine, it's nice, it's quiet. But you know, we have a crisis and nobody seems to be able to solve it because it takes too much energy, too much courage. And you feel like, I'm very sorry to say, I'm a Belgian, so I live here in this, I mean, it's my continent. I feel it going down. It's like people saying, well, yeah, that's the way it is. I mean, as long as we don't lose too much, we don't care. And that's kind of sad. And even, I mean, when I see people who really want to make business, who are entrepreneurial and so forth, friends of mine, they just said, you know what, we move to Beijing. There we can do business. Or we move to there. And it's sad. I mean, these are the most creative business guys are just moving out. So, I mean, so I'm not advising you to move out. Stay in and change the thing. But, I mean, what I think, perhaps not United States, I mean, they're still, I think, on top. But also, it's also shifting. But I think Europe, perhaps the only city who is just a bit still on top is London. And all the other cities, I mean, it's a museum. And that's very sad. I mean, it's going to change, but I don't know when. Because so from the young front, what I see is well, there's not much to fight for now. You want to die for something? I'm not. I mean, die for something in Europe? They're dying for freedom, and they just, these guys, you know, we know we're going to die, but we're going to die here, we're going to fight. Like, whoa, I'm not going to die, you know? I mean, when the police is coming, I run. And here, I never fight. So, I mean, it's, you see, I mean, it's this kind of fighting spirit that is different. And I see this in many cities. I mean, I've also been in several places in Africa, and you feel things boiling up. And we should more look to these places and see what, if we want to change, I think we might have to learn something there.
There are millions of youth in Africa and Middle East, and the youth are continuing to grow. The number of young people is continuing to grow. At the same time, there's no work for them. I mean, a lot of people don't have work, and at the same time, in Europe too, a lot of young people, more and more young people don't find jobs, which is the first chance. And Europe also is regulating immigrations from other countries. So how do you see the situation like for US, even in Europe or in other countries in Africa? Why, for the moment, like the situation is not good, nobody's going to find a job.
I believe that, if I'm right, the median age, so, well, you know, I mean, you know, math's better than I do, so the median age in Europe is, I believe, 40.9, I think. The median age in the Arab world, I don't know about the entire African world, the Arab world is, I believe, 26. I mean, which means that 50%, more than 50% of the people are younger than 30 years old. In Europe, 50% is older than 50.
And they're regulating innovation.
Yes, but I mean, in Europe, I mean, you feel everything is aging, so sometimes that's why you feel like sometimes a museum. And there you have all these guys with too much energy, some too much sometimes. So, but I mean, it's there, and there's no jobs. And here, I know, and it's also a difficult period right now. But let's take us in 10 years, we will need people. But we're afraid of the people because we're going down. And every time you go down, you're afraid of change and afraid of what is strange outside. And that is the big mistake. And that's why all these nationalist parties are coming up. Because people say, oh no, keep them out. No, you should take them in. It's time to take them in. And we need more young people who have too much energy. In Europe at least. So, and perhaps the Arab world, you need some people who are a bit older and who are, I mean, who have some experience and like, well, we'll make compromise, you know. So, it's not a big mistake I think Europe has made. I mean, Europe in general, every country, and almost. I mean, we will see in the next parliamentary elections that perhaps 30% of the parliament will be anti-Europe, anti-immigration, and so forth. This is horrendous, no? I mean, it's just like pure stupidity. So, yeah.
Couple, one here, one there, and then I get swift.
So as you were speaking about the cities that these things are happening in, like we saw a glimpse of it in London with the riots and it's spreading in different places. So we saw an insurgence or some sort of dissatisfaction with the state that the young people were in at that particular point. And what do you think would be the next issue, or what do you think can cultivate young people to have like an anger, some sort of dissatisfaction and anger against a particular issue that will make them rise up as they've done in Egypt and all these other countries?
That's a very difficult one. The thing is that, I mean, if we look to Tunisia, what sparked the revolution? I mean, Tunisia was not organized, Turkey was not organized, Egypt was organized, by the way. So the revolution was planned for August, when Gamal Mubarak, the son of Hosni Mubarak, would take over. And people said, yeah, well, then we're going to start. But suddenly Tunisia came, so they had to move everything to January. But in Tunisia, it was something that sparked something. I mean, in Turkey, just stupid. 33s. I mean, come on. I mean, could you imagine something starting of 33s? I mean, it's not human life. So, but it's suddenly something that triggers a general miscontent, and so it's very hard to say what is going to spark. I mean, it's impossible to predict. I mean, also where is this feeling? I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, you have to know a country very well in order to say like, it might happen. In Egypt, the guy said, yeah, something might happen. 2008, maybe 2009, maybe. Nah, it's not going to happen in Egypt. Suddenly, boom, was it? So, can't predict it.
Do you think it will happen? Sorry. Do you think it will happen internally within politics, or do you think it's something that is going to rise up from like the general population? Like we're seeing a lot more people wanting to get into politics and do it the logistical way. But do you think it should be something within Europe that is done outside of politics?
No, but that's interesting because I mean, the problem in Europe, and I'm sorry to say, but I mean, it was like 20 years ago when I was a student, I realized like, you know, there's so many people who want to do something in politics, but it's like you have to go the old way. You have to buy a membership card, and you have to go to the first meeting, sitting there, it's like, oh, the new guy. I mean, yeah, we have some interesting ideas. Shut up. I mean, you're new. So, and then you have to grow, and you will say, I have an interesting idea, and there's no way to give ideas to these guys because they don't interact. I mean, I'm a politician too. I mean, I have for elections and so forth, and what do you do? I mean, you go in the street, say, yeah, I am this guy, and this is my idea. Yeah, I have a question. Yeah, okay, yeah, I don't have time, sorry to run. So, I mean, you don't want to listen, I mean, because it takes too much time. It's also because our system is not made for this kind of thing. So, I mean, you can't absorb like 1,000 questions as a person. It's impossible. So it's a system that is not working well. But my point is that the crack on this system is perhaps not going to come in Europe because we are like, it's our system for 150 years, we know how to do it, blah, blah. So it's going to come from places where things are cracking right now. That's why I'm saying it's perhaps going to happen in the South, new things of democracy. It's already something that they tried in Stockholm, they tried in Rome, it's very small, you know, so, but the real eruption is going to be there, and suddenly we're going to say, that's interesting, maybe we should implement some stuff from there. So,
The guy there and this guy.
This is my political side, sort of talking, but I'm curious to know what you think is going to happen with the Palestinian-Israeli conflict.
In 1 minute, possibly. And we have both sides in the room. So.
I'm going to answer in a completely different way than you expect. I think that the policy of the United States and of Israel has always been, our major threat is basically Iran. And we can deal with the other countries, you know. But the advantage of the countries, they're all dictators, so they're all predictable. Then suddenly the Arab Spring came and Israel didn't know what to do. Also Palestine was like, should we join? We don't know. So they didn't, basically, they didn't. So I've been several times to Palestine. And now they thought, there's another option. There's the Muslim Brotherhood. Okay, these guys are Islamists, but we don't care. I mean, it's like dictators, we don't care. We just make a Sunni dam between Israel and Shia Iran. So it's protected. And so, yeah, that's the next good option, paid by Qatar and Turkey, and everything was in place. And suddenly, people kick out Morsi, and people go against, so they're confused again. So I think that Israel might think now like, okay, that's our second scenario, it's not working. They understood that things are becoming a bit urgent. Just imagine that Syria is going to be solved. Then you have like all Arab states who are democracies, inshallah, and who might work together against like, we want a solution now. That's what they are doing right now. So I think the push will come from the Arab countries, like, you need to solve it now, otherwise it's going to be difficult.
I'm from Turkey, and I participated in the protest in my hometown in Ankara, in Istanbul, in Taksim, and I've seen many police violence, etc. As you told that Erdogan is behaving like a dictator, he is talking with the name of young people, and young people don't want such a system. And even though I'm a Turkish guy, I don't know, I can't see what will happen next. So do you have any idea about what kind of system will satisfy the young people in Turkey or in other Arabic countries? Do you, I mean, a new democratic system or something like that?
I think yes. I mean, you know, if you go to the Industrial Revolution, I mean, it was like you had the Industrial Revolution, you had the Newton, mechanics, and you had, I mean, our parliamentary democracy. I mean, it was all like very simple. And now you have chaos theory, you have Twitter, and well, democracy is going to be something chaotic. So something very much more difficult, less clear. But, and in my opinion, business as well, by the way, if you want to get clients, you have to communicate with them, not just like, so it's going to be something much more messy. But out of this mess, some new order will come, and it will be something more organic, I think. So I advise now CHP, the biggest opposition party, saying, stop doing opposition like you do. Just break open. Forget about what you're doing. Just forget about it. If you want these guys, don't talk to them, because it's like, again, top down. What do you want? Okay, no. Break your party open. Do something different. Say just, our structures don't exist anymore. We're going to create some new ones. And just give it a try.